Hello and welcome back to Bunnex Investment Group. In this video, we are going to talk about a very simple strategy which is called the break and retest seen on the H4 timeframe. So this particular strategy has a potential to give you 100 pips on each and every entry that you make. But before we jump into the whole video, make sure to check out our free Telegram channel. The link is right in the description box below. Without wasting much of your time, let's actually jump into the steps on how to use and apply this strategy. So the first thing is to have evidence that you are in either an uptrend or a downtrend. So by evidence we mean, did the first low and the first high presented? If the answer is yes, we now wait to actually break one of those two. So what we mean is we are going to start at this point and illustrate how it goes. In this case, we can see that the market was actually coming from this side going downwards, and when it reached at this point, we couldn't actually, no one can predict that the market is going to reverse, right? In this case, we waited for the market to issue us the first high in this case and the first low, right? So being issued these two is actually proof that the market has changed its trend. In short, or in basic terms, we would say the market has broken structure, right? By breaking the last high of the previous trend, right? So after having these two, we now wait to see the market breaking the first high in this particular case. So breaking this first high will actually give us a point where we actually expect to see the market bouncing on, right? Like this, we can see that the market went up or broke out of this particular zone. After that, the market came back to retest that zone and we had our 100 plus pips, right? Another example, we can see that at this point we couldn't, or it's not necessary for us to actually predict change of market trend, but what we need to see is to see the newly laid trend. In this case, we had the first low that was issued and the first high which was issued at this point, right? There are other techniques that can be used to actually trade at this point, whereby we apply what we call order blocks, right? Unfortunately, actually after having this high and this low, right, we wait for the breakout of the market below the first low, right? So breakout, we wait for the market to retest that particular point, and in this case it went down and came back to retest that low, and our 100 pips was actually booked. Then in this case, what can we say? We can say that the market actually broke structure when it broke the last high of the previous trend. We were now in an upward trend, but did it meet our criteria of entry? We need low and high, a new low and a new high, and break of that high, retest of that high. In this case, this was not issued. Same applies. We can see that at this point we did not have a crystal clear point of market entry, and it's actually a scratch. So it's one of those properties or features of profitable traders. Whenever the market doesn't give you enough criteria for entry, skip it, right? In this case, you would have looked at other markets, right? And in this particular rise, there were no enough highs and lows for us to enter. Then at this point, right, we can see that the market broke the last low of the previous trend. Therefore, after it broke, we knew that we are now in a downward trend, right? So where is the first low of the market, right? A valid first low was actually at this week, right? This was the lowest point of the market, and then after that we can see that the market broke that zone. After breaking that zone, we came back to retest, and at the retest point, that is where we entered the market. And from this point, we had a potential 100 pips to be gained, right? Then right now, this was now the new reversal point, and after that reversal point, we need to see the market breaking the last high of the previous trend. So in this case, the last high might be this one. You can see that the market was actually going down and it went to retest this bottom part. After breaking that, we can say we had our first low of the market, right? At this point, this was our first low. Then our first high was this one, right? Above the last high of the previous trend. And then the market broke up and then retested that zone. And from this point, we had a potential of gaining 100 pips, right? Then we had a reversal at this point, right? After having that reversal, where was our low? Our first low was this one. Our first high was this one. So in this case, we can say this was somehow a retest, which was of course you could skip it because it's a bit dirty, but we managed to break the low and came back immediately to retest that region. That is why we could have actually got let me check the number of pips that we could catch. 100 pips was going to be caught. So right now we are now in this point whereby we have reversed, right? After having reversed, we can see that the last high of the previous trend, which is this downward, is this one, and we have broken it, meaning that we are likely in a new trend. So what we are now waiting are the first high and first low of the market, right? Like this. So this is proof, and at this point, that is where we will enter the market, right, using this particular strategy. So strategies require logic. You can wait for one particular strategy, or you can actually incorporate several strategies such that when one is not giving you entries, you may switch to the other and so forth. And above all, you need to be disciplined. Anything is profit that is 50%, that has 50% or even 30-40% win rate is actually profitable. But you are the problem within that system. You are the only variable that introduces noise within that system. So as I always, to be consistent, you need to be disciplined and be patient to wait for the particular age that you are waiting for. On that note, we come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.